So many freelance video editors miss out on thousands of dollars worth of clients because of this one problem. But being good at cold emailing can often mean the future of your freelance business. Because if you don't know how to cold email, it often means that opportunities are never going to arise for you. So in today's video, I'm going to show you the secrets on how to format a good cold email that can actually get you clients. But first, quickly, what is a cold email? A cold email is when you've sent an email unsolicited to an individual or business with who you've never had any prior contact or relationship with, and turning that into a profitable customer. So this video came from real cold emails that was sent to me in offer of work. And honestly, some of them were dreadful. So let's solve that issue and get straight into it. Preparation is the first thing that you need to have on your list of creating an email. And that first thing being, research the client. On the surface, this may look like an easy answer. I know who that client is. That's XYZ. But honestly, you need to understand what the client does, what genre they edit in, and who their audience is. And until you can answer that question, you cannot move on to any of the future points. Once you know who the client is, it's then time to find out who the right person to email is. That can often be the client themselves if they don't have any team, or it could even be an agency or something like that. But just know who to send the right email to. Throwing it out willy-nilly is an easy way of getting blacklisted. And in this video, we're going to discuss many ways that are going to get you blacklisted. So make a note of what not to do. I'll be going through them later as well. But before we talk about this, let's talk about today's sponsor. That's Vid.io. Vid.io is a completely online browser video editor. I know, pretty cool. Bringing everything that you need, but keeping everything just as simple as it needs to be. No more juggling with a ridiculous amount of buttons. Not only can you make completely AI videos using an AI avatar,
but you can also use text-to-speech directly in the editor. Wow, now that is super duper tasty.
But it doesn't stop there. Vid.io also contains an AI prompter. It's just like ChatGPT built into a video editor. But it doesn't end there, because Vid.io also contains an eye contact corrector right in the editor, which means if you're like me and you like looking at the screen sometimes, boom, you can snap your eyes straight to the camera. But it doesn't even end there. You can use Vid.io to clean your audio, but it doesn't even end there. You can use Vid.io to remove silences and cut up your footage, so taking out all the moments from your videos, or to erase background video. And I'm gonna say it again, it doesn't even end there. With filters, transitions, audio effects, there's even a free sound library. So if you want to support the channel and support Vid.io, which is a great online browser-based video editor, make sure to check out the link down below, or use this QR code that I've jammed somewhere. So thank you, Vid.io, for being a sponsor for this channel, and let's get on to making a cold email. Brr, chilly. And the last thing that you need to do in preparation is to understand the personalization of the email. So exactly how you're going to approach them. Are they a business? Are they a singular client? What genre do they work in? Are they gaming? Are they more corporate focused? Who is it? And the reason why that's so important is understanding whether you're talking to many or just one particular person. Like I said, what genre they're in, because if they're in a, say, more gaming-centric genre, things like emojis, more quick hooky sentences are going to be far more approachable to a gaming-centric client than a very corporate, serious email is going to be. Just try to understand who you're talking to. Now it's time to get started on the email. And the first thing on an email is the subject line. So you might be thinking that you're just going to have Dave, video editor, give me money. But surprisingly enough, that isn't the right thing to do. You need to treat the subject title like a video. Not too baity, not too over-enthusiastic, but also not boring. So keep it relatable and keep it human sounding. The more you sound like a robot, the more you're going to be ignored. So maybe think about subject lines like this. Let's discuss taking your edits to the next level. Let's discuss taking your content to the next level. Let's discuss how I can help you improve your content. How I can help you with your content. How I can help you create better content. Time to solve that one issue with your content. Next is the introduction. The most important part of any email is showing exactly who you are, what you're here for, and why you're reaching out. So just keep it simple. Start with introducing yourself, who you are, what you do, where you're from. Don't overcomplicate things. Don't tell them your life story. They don't need to know that. Now, this next part is the most important part of this entire video, I would say. So pay close attention. You need to show the client that you know exactly what you're talking about and who you're talking to. So give reference to some of their videos, contents, genre, and styles that you've become accustomed to by doing your research. Show the client that you have been researching them, not in the sense of you know their family, their entire dynasty and history, or anything like that. Show that you know about their genre, their topics at hand, the type of videos they make, and name a couple of the videos that you've watched. Because if you go in there saying, I watched one of your videos, it was very good, now I want to make money off you, it's not going to work. It's also, that happens a lot. Stop it. So the next thing that you need to do is introduce a problem that you can solve, whether that be by short form content, long form, social media content creation, ads, anything like that. You need to understand what their problem is and how you can solve it. It's as simple as that. Don't overemphasize that their channel's suffering or that they could make thousands of more pounds via this. Introduce the problem and show a small way of how you could fix that. Say they only make long form content and they're underutilizing on the fact of short form content. You could easily just bring up the idea. Maybe you could use more short form content. And how would you fix that? By taking their existing content and converting into short form. Now you've introduced the problem and given them a brief explanation on how you would fix that, it's time to show some examples, otherwise known as backing up your goods. So if you've pitched to them, you can make them short form content and you can make high quality, good short form content, then you need to show them some good short form content or some content at least. So many emails that I've received have no examples of work. I'm not going to even consider anything without examples of work. So just make sure to have at least 3 examples of your work to show. So then underneath the examples, you need to give a brief but knowledgeable description of exactly what you're offering them, whether that be short form content, long form content, or whatever, and how you feel that that would impact their business and how doing such a thing could help their business. Back it up with statements, with understandings of the social media market. Maybe a good idea is even finding other people who it's succeeding with. That could be a good thing. And then the final part of the body of the email is then to give you the costs. This is a bit of a controversial thing, and I understand that some people would rather haggle or something like this, but I think when you're starting out as a beginner freelance video editor, it's good to have some idea and show them things like this as a product. There's so many video editors out there doing this exact same thing, but they're not putting the cost in there. So that means it goes from for 2, for 3, for 4 emails. And you've got to understand that a lot of these people are quite busy. So if you give them a cost up front, like they're buying something off a store shelf, it makes life way easier. And it makes more sense if somebody who's running such a small business or something like that to really consider it as a investment. And this really makes it easy for both of you. It makes it easy for the client to understand how much something like this is going to cost him. So it means you don't get your hopes up with, okay, this would cost X amount or Y. They can sit there, consider it, mull it over and decide whether it's right for them. It's easy for you so you don't have to haggle. You get exactly what you want. And you could even make a first offer for their first video, saying that, okay, if this is something that you're interested in, at the moment, I'm currently doing an offer for the first video. So it's a good way to get your hooks in on a client as well and to impress. And then the last part of the body of the email is to social proof. If you have any social proofing, any videos that are currently out there, anybody that could vouch for you, put those underneath the body of the description. If you haven't, don't worry about it too much, but it's always good to have. And so now the big meat of the burger has finished. If that makes any sense. It's time to do the call to action. So be clear to the client and how you want them to follow up, whether that being by email, by message, or social media, or something like that. Just be clear to them. If they're interested or if they just want to mull it over, let them know how they can get in contact with you. And even on top of that, you could give them a link for a Google schedule meeting just to set up a meeting when it's right for them. And they can do all that without even having to respond. Great, it's a win-win. And then it's time for the closing statement. Just thank the person, thank them for reading the email and leave your name, contact info, below. Things like social media, Facebook, give them somebody to look at, somebody to kind of understand, to show that you're not just a faceless creep behind the computer wanting to scav money off them. Okay, and then before we click send, here's some additional tips that I want you to go through just to make sure with this email. So the first thing is make sure you're not being rude. You don't want to be rude to this person. Being rude to somebody is an easy way of just being completely blacklisted. Whether that person's being rude themselves or anything like that, you always want to say cool-minded, because the worst thing that could happen is that person sending your name or your contact info to other members in the community and blacklisting you. It's unfortunate, it happens, but I see rude responses come far too often. I've had some to myself just for not responding to emails. Even if I'm too busy or whatever, you don't know what's going on in the person's life. They don't know what's going on in your life. So there's no need to be rude. And it's an easy way of never being recommended by anybody. Another tip is if you do get a response and the person says they're not interested, make sure to stay in contact with them. Just respond to them saying, thank you for reading your email. I really appreciate it. If there's anybody that you know that's interested in my work or to do jobs in the future, stay in contact. You know, put it out there. If the person seriously wants to end ties, just accept it. It's one of those things. Doesn't matter how big of an editor you are, and it doesn't matter how small of an editor you are. The next one goes back to research. Research. If you have a certain style that you want to look towards, go after people in that niche, in that style. So saying somebody like Mr. Beast coming over to, you know, in content creation like this, the style's not the same. I'm not on a big yacht in the middle of the ocean using that kind of content. It's understanding who the clients are. Maybe the examples that you show them are more aimed towards them and more driven down that kind of content line. The next one being proofreading. Proofreading is so important. Make sure you've got all your spellings done, make sure your pronunciation is correct, and make sure it just sounds right. You're showing examples, links are working, and it looks real. You don't want it to look dodgy, so it's sent to spam, but you also don't want it to look too genuine, like you're a mate down the pub. And then the final one being mobile friendly. Keep it mobile friendly, make sure it works and it doesn't look dodgy or anything like that. Just keep it mobile friendly. Another controversial opinion, don't use tracking. Tracking looks weird. Right? If I want to open the email at 9 o'clock, I don't want somebody to know that I'm opening the email and they're sat there waiting. Don't use tracking. Just trust the process and understand it. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been how to send a cold email. I haven't really seen many topics on this, so hopefully I've answered some of your questions. If you've got any more questions, let me know down below. If you want to watch another video on how to become a freelance video editor, this one right here is banging. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in the absolute next one.
No.